things with this model. So it has really very big scope for improvement. So my model is based on certain presuppositions. And of course, the first thing is the karma doctrine is a universal doctrine. It's very important. If the karma doctrine is not universal, then it's meaningless. It has to be valid everywhere all the time. It doesn't mean that only Eastern people believe in karma theory, so it's valid in India, not in US where I do live, then it will be very good. Then when I come here, I do good deeds, and when I go back there, and I can do anything because it's knowledge valid there, so I will be really very happy if the karma model is like that. So I know definitely it's not going to work. If karma doctrine will be meaningless, if it works only here, not over there. Same thing, it works only on weekdays, not on weekends, so same thing will happen. It won't make any sense. Like, for example, people go to church or something on particular days, okay, said fine, that day I will do good deeds, and rest other days I won't do good deeds. So it's just like law of nature, like your law of gravity is valid everywhere, all the time. So karmic laws, karma doctrine is valid everywhere, all the time. It's very important. So once we assume the karma doctrine is valid here, then there are consequences which are governed by this karma doctrine, which I call law of karma governed consequences. So there are two types of consequences. One, consequences are not governed by karma doctrine, and the other consequences are governed by karma doctrine. And that's very important because we assume sometimes all consequences are governed by karma doctrine, which is not correct. Only very few, which I call invisible consequences. The karma we attach, I'm doing action of speaking now, and I'm attaching karma. There is no doubt. I'm attaching karma to my soul, and those are the invisible consequences, which are law of karma governed consequences. We had this idea, when I work outside, do my job, they pay me something, that's the visible consequence. Of course, I did the karma. So, for example, I used to teach. Of course, so I was teaching. I'm doing the karma of teaching. As a reward, they were giving me some salary. That consequence is not governed by law of karma because that karma is not universal. This consequence is not universal. That consequence varies with time and place. If I was teaching in India first, I was getting some salary. I went there. I started teaching there, my salary was different. So those laws are governed by man-made laws or by chance. So those laws are not governed by karma doctrine. So we'll have to be very careful because we sometimes get confused. Oh, ये तो कर्मों का फल है. Yeah, definitely कर्मों का फल है, लेकिन वो कर्म फल कर्म सिद्धांत द्वारा नियंत्रित नहीं है. They are not governed by karma doctrine. They are the consequence of karma. There's no doubt. But they are not governed by karma doctrine. So it's very, very important, okay? So third thing is basically the assumption I'm making, the birth species in the next life is governed by the karmic load of the ghatiya karma. Okay, Muniji, of course, didn't use the, but his talk was very helpful to me because I need not to explain this karmic body and karmic load, everything, but I will use the word ghatiya karma. So I'm interested only computing the karmic load of the ghatiya karma. So I'm just saying, at the age bonding moment, because we bind our next life at a certain time in the the last one-third of our life. So at that time, how much karmic load I'm binding with my soul, that will govern my birth species in the next life. So that's the assumption I'm making. I pushed the wrong one. Okay. And living beings transmigrate to more developed life form with decrease in their karmic load. So Muni said that Nigo Jeev carries the maximum karmic load, and as the karmic load decreases, he will go to 1 sense to 2 sense to 3 sense to 4 sense, 4 sense without mind and with mind, and then human being. And of course, when the karmic load will become zero, it will liberate the soul. So this is the development of life. The evolution occurs from Nigodhya Jeev going through the 1 sense, 2 sense, 3, 4, 5, with mind, without mind. And so that's how I'm assuming. And finally, the development of life form of living beings is characterized by number of prans. We know already this. We have 10 prans, 5 senses, 3 bal, manvachan, kai ki kriya, just we call yoga, and shwas, respiration, and age. So these are the 10 prans, and every living we will have at least 4 pran. Nigodya ji will have 4 prans, so that's what I'm doing here. So this is the assumption I'm making. So my model is based on these presuppositions. So if I do that, so what I have here, the Kn is the karmic load of the Nigodya jeev, then K1 is for the 1 sense, 2 sense, 3 sense, 4 sense, 5 sense, Sangi, 5, and Sangi, and then at K6 they go to human being, and then we have these 14 Gunasthan. K1 is the first Gunasthan, 4th Gunasthan, 5th Gunasthan, and 14th Gustan, the karmic load will become 0. So just basically I'm showing the karmic load is decreasing from the maximum Kn to 0 there, and I've indicated these are basically K1, K2 is larger than K1 and K3 is larger than K2, so this is basically decreasing like this. So what I'm doing here, I'm just showing that if suppose when I die and at the age bonding moment, my karmic load is K. And I find that karmic load K is between K3 and K4. And then I go to this table here, okay, so if I know my karmic load when at the age bonding moment was K, and it's between K3 and K4, I find from here it's very simple, between K3 and K4, I will be born as a 4th sense living being. So it's really simple. Of course, it's simple, provided we know these numbers. We really don't know what I'm talking about. I really don't know what is K3 and K4, what is K, but this concept is very simple. If I can compute, if I can determine what is the value of K and what is K3, K4, all these things, then it will be easy to really say, oh, if I do these things, I will be born like that, and I can probably handle this. So that's the concept I'm using. So what I want to compute these numbers, K1, this K3, what I'm talking about here, because my model is based on Ghatiya Karma, and the Ghatiya Karma is based on this Mohiniya Karma. So we have 28 subspecies, we call Uttar Prakritiya. So there are 28 Uttar Prakritiya of Mohiniya Karma. And so, and all living beings, right, from Nigodya jeev to one says all 3-inch and human being, we are all Mithyadashri. So we have all 28 karma prakriti, we are binding all the time. So now what happens if I go from the first Gunasthan to next Gunasthan? In the first Gunasthan, I lose 4 subspecies. 3 subspecies of Mithyat and 1 subspecies of Nokashai. So I will have only 24 subspecies that I leave, go from first Gunasthan. So what I'm saying here, if I assume the Ghatiya Karma is proportional to the number of subspecies attached, so here my subspecies will decrease from 28 to 24. So 86% of the maximum karmic load of Kn at the end of first stage. So I'm just making a very simple model, because if I go from the first Gunasthan to next Gunasthan, I will lose 4 subspecies of Mohiniya Karma. So my karmic load should be roughly 80% of my initial load. So that's what I'm assuming. So that's what I'm showing here. Kn is the maximum load time, or normal, I'm just saying K1 is basically the karmic load at the end of the first Gunasthan. And I'm just saying this will be roughly 86%. So that's what the assumption I'm making. But I want to find out, you see that when I come from Triyanch Gati to Manushya Gati, my karmic load has to be less than K6. So I need to find out what is the value of K6. And so I know K1 is about 86%. So I'll have to just guess, okay, I don't know from 86 to what, but so I'm again making an approximation. I'm assuming probably this K6 will be, definitely has to be larger than 86%. And I'm assuming basically taking 90%. So I'm losing roughly 4% of my karmic load will decrease in the first Gunasthan. That's what I'm saying basically. So here again, I'm showing that I'm saying K6, again this K6, which I'm normalizing with the maximum karmic load of the Nigodya jeev, because it is easy to talk about in terms of percentage. So I'm saying the karmic load here will be 90%, and the karmic load at the end of first sequence time will be 86%, and that's what I'm basically saying. So in my model, I will use these numbers to just to get some idea what I'm talking about. So okay, so now I try to develop a model. This is my karmic body, and of course I have karma attaching to my soul, and there are karma detaching from my soul. So I have an inflow of karma and outflow of karma, which is really simple concept. So if you know how much karmas are coming in and how much karmas are going out, it will be very easy to calculate how much is the change on your karmic load. So it's very simple. So I can write this here very simple. The delta K is the change in karmic load, and that will be difference of the load coming in and load going out. So I1 is the rate of inflow of karmic load, and in time delta T, this much load will come in, and this much load will go out. So this will be change in karmic load, and it's a very simple equation that we have, because I'm an engineer and we use this equation all the time in engineering. We call law of conservation of mass. So this is the same thing, equation here. So if I can do this and I can know what is I1 and I2, I can solve this equation. So that's what I will try to do. And so what I will do here, because I have to express this I in terms of some parameter which I can calculate. So I'm just saying the rate of karmic load depends on your yog and mo, because the action are the combination of yog plus mo. So the inflow of karmic load will be function of yog, which I denote by y, and m is mo. So I can write that I will be some kind of a function of yog y to the power n and some mo to the power q. So I get some equation which I can use to relate my inflow of karmic load to the sum of the parameter which I can relate that what kind of yoga I'm doing and how much more I have. For example, right now looks like I'm very excited and I'm doing my Y value is fairly high. So basically, so once we have these numbers, but still this equation is very complicated. So I want to simplify this equation, and I'm assuming that yoga is somehow related to mo. If moho goes down, probably yoga will go down, and when mo goes up, your yoga will go up. So if I'm very angry, my moho will be very large and I will be very agitated. My yoga will be, if I'm doing meditation, my moho will be low, my yoga will be low. So I'm just making this approximation that, okay, I can relate yoga to mo. So instead of having two variables, I can just use one variable, and I can simplify this. Okay, so it looks like, so what I'm doing basically, so I simplify that equation, and this is the final form of the equation here, which is basically, again, I must make another approximation that my mo is decreasing. I'm just doing a model. So what will happen? Suppose I'm born, I have some karmic load, and if my mo keep decreasing, what will happen? How much time it will take for up to liberation? So I will solve the equation, this equation, and that's the thing I will do. And so this is basically my mo. I start with a very large mo and just keep decreasing, and finally certain time t, my mo goes to 0. So I need to find out, okay, how long will it take for this mo to decrease to this level, and how is it related to karma. So what we can do, because this is a fairly complicated equation, so I can simplify the equation if I describe this curve with a simple of straight lines. So in mathematics, we simplify the model. So I'm simplifying the model, I'm expressing this curve in the form of straight lines. So I can have number of segments, straight line segments. So I can have, the more segments you have, more accurate to the result. But for now, what I will do, I will just replace this by a straight line, and I take a case where my mo start with 1, which is 100%, where the Nigodia leaf is there, and mo is decreasing a straight line. So this M1 is the mo of the incoming flow, incoming karmic load, and up to a certain time, this becomes 0. And solving that governing equation, which I have not explained in detail, you'll find the karmic load will change like this. So the second curve down there is the karmic load. So if the mode changes like this, the karmic load will change like that. So we can predict this. So here you'll find that if I use this concept I use, that to change from Kriyanj Gati to human Gati, you have a karmic load of 90%. So if I go 90% will be here, 0.9 will be 90%. Just give me just 1 minute, I think, just 1 minute, I think will be okay. So this will be basically, you'll find, this will tell you that it will have only 4%. In the Kriyanj Gati, only 4% of the time, and you will be in Manush Gati for 96% of the time, which doesn't look logical to me, because if you are a Nigodya Jeev is coming from the Nigod conditions, he won't reach to Manush Gati in very short period. So looks like this assumption that the rate of change is constant is probably not very good. So you'll have to assume the rate of change of Mo in the Kriyanj Gati is much less, and the rate of change of Mo in the Manush Gati is much higher. And so that's what I have different rate. And again, you can do these things, and it's a very, I think, a lot of potentials there. So finally, what I'm saying is a very preliminary attempt to model this karmic load, and you can really find a lot of treasures buried in this karmic karma doctrine. So is it just a very crude first attempt to say something about karma, because we use this term karmic load all the time, but we really don't know what we are talking about. Okay, thank you.
Now I invite Professor Sohan Rajtater, who is Emeritus Professor of the Stefania University in Jodhpur, and also has been Vice Chancellor there. And he has written a tremendous amount of books, too many to enumerate. Now he is going to speak about the self-interaction of karma and genes in the light of Jain philosophy.
Chande sunimmalayara aiche suayang payasaira sagar varagambira siddha siddhin mama disantu siddha siddhin mama disantu. This is a prayer to God to attain salvation. Dignitaries on the dais, most respected Munishi Mahendra Kumar ji, who is a main inspirer for me to achieve this stage, and other Munishi ji, Samni ji, and throughout the country and the major part of the globe, my colleagues, scientists, philosophers, we welcome all of you here, sir. My topic is the self-interaction of the karma and genes in the light of the Jain philosophy. Two established doctrines are there. Now we have heard a lot about the doctrine of karma from Professor Mahendra Muniji. So actually this is a biggest doctrine in our Jain philosophy. And another side is the genetics. That means cell. Where there is a cell, there is a life. In the cell, chromosomes, again genes. So the two extremes are there. Two sides are there. So being my science ground, I have prepared a hypothesis. I have taken the Uttar Prakriti of the karma, their characteristics I have taken. And another side, after reading the genetics, I took the characteristics of the active genes which are there in the cells, and I tried to compare them. So I came to know with the hypothesis that there is much of the similarities there. My book is also published, Jain Doctrine of Karma and the Science of Genetics, in 2008, and I give the complimentary copy to our International Court Justice Dr. Dalbir Singh Ji Bhandari a long back. And yesterday, he has also agreed with my hypothesis, and major part of the hypothesis he has also taken in account of his this opening session, this deliberation also. So now I take the karma theory in very short. There are the three bodies we know. One is the physical body, gross body, which you are seeing me or I am seeing you. Another thing is the Tejas body, luminous body, astral body, which is a great factory. It's a bridge between the third and the first body, and great changes happens. Lesha, bhav, thoughts, it's a great factory. It's a shared medium of transformation. So somebody wants to transform himself, he will have to go to the Tejas body. That is another way I can say physical body, conscious mind, Tejas body, subconscious mind, astral body, Tejas body. And another, now I am coming to my point, that is the karmic body. This is a warehouse. This is a store. It stores the karmas of our unlimited, infinite, our lives. It stores everything. As we store in the computer, this karmic body stores everything of our life. Everything. Nothing exclusive in itself. So I will be concentrating on this karmic body. That is karma sharira. Because this is the main point for me. 8 types of karma, they are Uttar Prakriti. I will not go in that detail. So, because I am to compare the characteristic of both the things. So this is the one side. Time is very limited. Full book is there.